Kitten, I would like to formally state that this triple date was a mistake. Even worse than I imagined, which I didn't think was physically possible. And yet here we are, living proof that chaos has no upper limit. We should have turned around the moment we arrived at the escape room. But then Luke and Kieran weren't just being chaotic. They were behaving strangely. Luke started it. He picked up a clue, held it between two fingers, and examined it with slow, brooding intensity. His date swooned like he'd just solved the mystery of her heart. I assumed he was squinting because the lighting was bad. Then Kieran stepped in. He folded his arms, tilted his head, and murmured, "Interesting," in a low voice that sounded like he'd swallowed gravel. His date practically melted. I thought he was trying to remember how reading works. Luke began pacing, slowly, deliberately, like he was the tortured genius of the group. Kieran kept pausing dramatically before touching anything, as if waiting for a soundtrack to swell. Their dates were enchanted. You were clinging to my arm, shaking with silent laughter. Meanwhile, I'm standing there thinking, what the hell? And then you, tears in your eyes, barely breathing, leaned in and whispered, "They're trying to impress their dates by imitating you." I have never been so offended, and you were far too amused by this farce. Luke kept smirking like he'd practiced in a mirror. Kieran kept delivering slow, intense nods like he was communicating with spirits. Their dates swooned harder. You were seconds away from collapsing. At that point, I was done. I walked over to the final puzzle, the one they'd been circling dramatically for 10 minutes, solved it in about 12 seconds, opened the exit door, and got out of there before they started monologuing. You were still laughing when I dragged you out, Luke and Kieran trailing behind, their dates beaming and starry-eyed, and me swearing to never do this again. Kitten, I don't think you understand the hold you have on me. Not fully. It's not simple attraction. It's not even the usual pull between two people. It's deeper, sharper. It hits every sense I have and refuses to let go. I hear you before I see you. That soft shift of your steps, the way the air seems to change when you're close. My whole body reacts like it's been waiting for that sound all day. And when you finally come into view, everything in me goes taut, focused, hungry for the next moment you'll move, speak, breathe. Your scent lingers on my clothes longer than it should. I catch it hours later and feel my chest tighten like you're standing right behind me. It's ridiculous how fast it happens. One breath, and suddenly I'm remembering the warmth of your skin, the way your fingers feel when they brush mine, the softness of your voice when you say my name, and your voice. Kitten, it does something to me. There's a tone you use, quiet, intimate, meant only for me, and it slides under my defenses like it belongs there. I feel it in my spine, in my pulse, in the way my hands flex like they're reaching for you even when you're not near. When you look at me, really look, it's like you're peeling back every layer I've ever built. I can't hide from you. I don't want to. Your eyes find every part of me I keep locked away, and instead of pulling back, you soften, you warm, you draw closer. And that undoes me more than anything. I think about you more than I should, more than I'll ever admit unless you ask me directly. And even then, I'll struggle to find words big enough for what you do to me. You're in my thoughts when I wake. You linger in the back of my mind when I'm supposed to be focused. You slip into every quiet moment like you belong there. And maybe you do. This isn't something I can switch off. It's not something I want to switch off. It's this constant burning awareness of you, your presence, your warmth, your softness, your fire. And it's woven into me now, whether I meant for it to happen or not. You undo me, kitten, completely. Kitten, I had to call because I heard a joke so offensively bad it physically vibrated through my skull. And now you have to live with it too. Ready? Here it is. What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated. I'll give you a moment to process that, to mourn your brain cells, to question why I'm like this. I swear I heard my dignity pack a suitcase and leave, and yet my first instinct was, I have to tell her. She deserves to suffer with me. If you groaned, good. If you laughed, even better. If you're judging me, well, get in line. I'm judging myself, too.
Hey, boss lady. Bossman said you liked our joke. So here's another. And it's even better than the last one. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
What are you two doing with my phone? Did you call? Sorry, kitten. I'll call you back in a bit. I've got some business to take care of. Talk soon. Where are you two going? Why are you running? You're getting in the hot spring with me, kitten. Listen to it for a second. The water's moving in slow, lazy ripples, warm enough that the steam curls up and brushes the air like fingertips. The rocks are radiating heat. The night air is cool against my shoulders, the kind of contrast that makes every inch of warmth feel sharper, deeper. It's quiet, too. The kind of quiet that settles into your bones and makes the rest of the world feel very far away. And you're standing there on the edge, pretending you have a reason to resist. I can see it in the way you shift your weight, in the way your fingers fidget, in the way your eyes keep darting anywhere but at me. You're building excuses out of thin air, and terrible ones at that. So I lean back into the water, let the heat rise around me, and let my voice drop just enough to tug at you. Come here. Feel how warm it is. Feel how good it is. You know you want to. You always do. Whatever reason you're clinging to, your hair, the temperature, a bug that might exist, none of it stands a chance against this, against the way the steam softens everything and the night wraps around us like it's waiting. So stop hovering, stop overthinking. Get in. The only dangerous thing in the water is me. Kitten, the house has descended into a kind of chaos that feels deliberate. It started when Rune discovered a feather. One feather. He treated it like a divine revelation and sprinted through the house with it, chirping triumphantly. Mira, naturally, decided this was beneath her, until she saw Vex stalking Rune like a tiny shadow with murder in her eyes. Then she joined in, not to help, to supervise, judgmentally. Bandit, meanwhile, was dragging an entire blanket across the floor for reasons known only to him and whatever ancient spirits guide his crimes. Then Luke walked in, saw the kittens in full pursuit mode, and immediately shouted, "I can help!" He could not. He tripped over the blanket. Twice. Kieran arrived seconds later, took one look at the scene, and whispered, "This is how civilizations fall." Then he started filming. For research. By the time I stepped in, the kittens had cornered the feather. Luke was tangled in the blanket fighting for his life, and Kieran was narrating the whole thing in a dramatic whisper. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, all that motion, all that ridiculousness. There was a moment I couldn't quite read. Was it important? Was it nothing? Was it something else entirely? You'd know if you were here. Hurry home, kitten. Kay? I wrote you that especially witty, perfectly composed message, and all I get back is a single letter? Bold move, kitten. I hope you didn't strain yourself with all that typing. Or maybe you're just so overwhelmed by my charm that K was the only thing your brain could process before short-circuiting. Since you're clearly too busy to use the rest of the alphabet, I'll take that K as shorthand for, I'm bored and I want you to come over and distract me. I'm already in the car. Try to have a few more vowels ready by the time I arrive, or don't. I'm perfectly fine with you being speechless in person.